Radical.
Going to talk about Deadpool Wolverine, and I'm also going to talk about Beetlejuice. Deadpool Wolverine. The biggest surprise of Deadpool Wolverine for me was Gambit. And that guy, I forget what his name was. He was in G.I. Joe. He was in 21 Jump Street. I forget what his name was. What was the big line from the movie? My Cajun is a little rusty. Ooh, I'm about to make a name of myself right here. That was his big tagline. And a lot of NFL teams actually would, put that in their social status before they took on a opposing team in their stadium. Just getting out of the way. Gambit, I saw more of a joke character. Maybe that's what it was meant to be, but I couldn't contain a little bit of laughter I had whenever I saw him as Gambit. He just seemed a little chubby. Gambit is really, this guy used to be, but he clearly gained some weight. He could have lost a little weight in them chubby cheeks before he played his Gambit. But his costume, it looked like a cosplay. Out of all the costumes, and maybe it's hard to get that look right, but that just stuck out for me, Gambit's character. I liked it, but it just stuck out. And the whole movie had kind of like a lighthearted, funny tone, kind of like the first two. And compared to the first two, I liked them all. I did. It's a good movie. But something just seemed to be missing. Something seemed to be missing in this particular movie. I don't know what it is. The first two just seemed like they seemed a lot better to me. In this one, things I loved about Deadpool Wolverine was, Deadpool and Wolverine together. When they was together on screen, crazy shit was happening. And when they were fighting each other, those were some great fight scenes. They really were. So it lived up to all expectations. And it felt like a natural conclusion to the Deadpool trilogy, unless there's any more Deadpools. Because, he made lots of jokes about Wolverine all the time. So it's great to actually see them actually teaming up and fighting each other at the same time. The villain in this one, man, it's a long step down from Cable. Josh Brolin is Cable. And didn't you have the freaking, Juggernaut also? Yeah. It was a big step down. Speaking of Juggernaut, there's one scene in here. It has a guy that looks like Juggernaut. And it must be a fucking joke or an alternate version because there's a fight. And just giving some spoilers away. There's a clawed character that cuts off Juggernaut's feet. That doesn't make any sense. Because if it's really Juggernaut, you can't do that shit. It's way too tough of a character, I would say, for that to happen. So you look at some of this stuff and it doesn't make sense, but you're not seeing this movie for it to make sense, really. You're seeing it because it's a big, dumb summer blockbuster movie. There's Captain America in it, kind of. There's some really funny scenes there. But for me, it just wasn't as good as the first two. And I just wasn't feeling the evil character woman. I just was not feeling that character. It's not because it's a female. It's not. I don't know. Just wasn't. There's some seriously great scenes, though. There is. If you like Deadpool, the first two, you will like this. But you might feel kind of like me when you're leaving the theater, very good, not great. The second one I'll quickly talk about is Beetlejuice. Now, the first Beetlejuice I really like. And it was typical Tim Burton. Tim Burton, you either love or hate Tim Burton. All the Tim Burton movies is kind of most have a similar kind of feel. And I like this one. Well, kind of liked it. Let me explain. For this movie, there was a lot of focus on Jenna Ortega. And I don't know much about Jenna Ortega. I guess they put her in this movie because, they figured they want to have some kind of appeal, some cross appeal. There's a lot of fan base around Jenna Ortega, so good on them. They want to get some ticket sales. A lot of the same people that watched the original Beetlejuice when it came out in theaters in the late 80s, they might not even be into watching movies now, or some of them might not even be on this earth still. So they figured we have a limited fan base that would come out to see Beetlejuice. But we bring in Jenna Ortega, and we can plaster her on these posters and say, hey, this movie's got Jenna Ortega in it, All you people that are big fans of, was it Wednesday on Netflix, I believe? Yeah. I didn't see that one. There's a cameo by Danny DeVito in it, which is kind of cool. You don't get to see Michael Keaton and Danny DeVito together on screen at the same time, which would be really cool if a lot of you like Batman Returns. With this movie, kind of a mixed bag for me. Any scene involving Michael Keaton was really good. Very good. So seeing him reprise his role, albeit older, still works as Beetlejuice. And it makes sense. He's still basically, he's still got a disgusting chubby for her Lilith. Was that her name? Correct me if I'm wrong. The girl that was in the first movie. Now that girl has grown up, and she is on a talk show where she's talking about spirits she saw. And there's a guy basically that she's dating that is revealed to be secretly manipulating her. And then there's obviously the one person who is, well, Catherine O'Hara, number one. Catherine O'Hara, other than Michael Keaton, she is the best part of this movie. How is she still so amazing after all these years? Whatever she's involved in, I love Catherine O'Hara. She's really great. And for her age, she looks really great. She must be sucking from the fountain of youth because she still looks good for her age. Now, her hubby, he couldn't be in this movie. He actually couldn't be in any movie because he is a pedo. And the scenes with him were either animated, they showed him on a plane, showed his demise, and then he gets eaten by, I'm giving you spoilers here, but okay, he's eaten by a big shark. And some stupid scenes in the movie is when he's walking around in the death world, and it's the waiting room for, where you go on to. And half of his body is missing. But he's walking around and he's still talking somehow. Doesn't make sense. There is some hilarity when you look on the couch and you see that there's a person that contorted themselves into a box. They're like a Houdini type person. And they're dead. And then there's a person... there's a person with like 1,000 hot dogs in their mouth. And they died in a hot dog eating contest. Which is very plausible. You can die in a hot dog eating contest. So any of you out there that are currently in a hot dog eating contest, just know that there's a possibility that you might die. Everything we've learned about eating carefully, chewing your food, fuck it, throw it out the window. Hot dog eating contest. I wonder if anyone's ever died from a hot dog eating contest during it. You think, well, they're just going down for more hot dogs. Wait, Larry? I don't have that information for you right now. That's pretty funny. There's musical scenes. At the end of the movie, there's a musical scene kind of like, has kind of the spirit of, Deo, mi sate. Not quite as good, because that's one of the best scenes in movie history. It's hard to really top or outdo that, but they did pretty good. And I feel like there's going to be another movie. I feel like that because this one was titled Beetlejuice. And the first one was titled that regularly. I got to be careful not to say his name 3 times, But I think the third one is actually going to be titled that. Just the 3 names straight. Fun fact about this movie. They thought it might be a bomb. They thought it might make about the same money or a little more than Borderlands. They didn't know it'd be a big hit. But it turns out it's one of the big surprise hits of the summer, and I don't know what they was thinking when they pitched it, that it wouldn't be a hit because, it's Tim Burton, it's Beetlejuice, it's should have been released in October. That would be probably perfect. I don't know why they didn't release it in October, but it's somewhat near October. So yeah, I don't get how that's probably not factored in to be kind of like not a home run, but at least profitable. Between the two, Beetlejuice and Deadpool Wolverine, well, I like Deadpool Wolverine better. Just because that's more like what I'm into. When it comes to Tim Burton stuff, some people say it's an acquired taste. There's some really good Tim Burton movies out there, definitely. But I had to see Deadpool Wolverine. if there was any summer movie I had to see, it was Deadpool Wolverine.